What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is Orioles Today, and as always, I am Sean Ferguson. Thank you so much for tuning into this channel and to this latest episode. And if you are a fan of this episode, please hit that like button down at the bottom. And if you're a fan of this content, please subscribe. Get yourself daily notifications for all of these daily video drops, where I'll be talking about all things the Baltimore Orioles. And again, thank you guys so much for all the love and support that this channel has gotten. This channel is newer, and I'm just a diehard Orioles fan and diehard baseball fan, just like most of you guys are. But the reason this channel has been able to get off the ground, up and running the way it has, is because of all of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into these videos, liking the videos, commenting, and for all the nice comments as well. I really do appreciate it, and I'm doing my best to keep the ball rolling with this video, and I'm only going to grow and get better each and every video that drops. And I just thank you so much for all the support, and I hope you guys continue with me on this journey, as it is going to be a fun one, especially as the offseason really starts to kick off. And it's going to be here soon with the qualifying offer period ending soon. It's going to end on November 18th, where players who were offered a qualifying offer have to accept or decline. And I think once that happens, you're really going to start to see moves being made. And we'll get into more trade rumors, free agency rumors here in a second. But to start off with tonight will be the announcements of the American League and National League MVP awards. It's pretty much a shoe-in that Shohei is going to win the National League MVP. Good for him. But the big talk is about the American League MVP. It's between two guys, Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh. Now, I'm a diehard Orioles fan, so it's hard for me to, I wouldn't say root. I'm not rooting for a Yankees player, but just to agree with Yankees fans, as I do believe Aaron Judge should win the award, and I think he's going to. And if you just look at the numbers, now look, I know Cal Raleigh had an historic season, a career year. I'm really happy for him, but if you just look at the numbers across the board, I think it's going to go to Aaron Judge. Cal Raleigh, in 159 games, had 147 hits. He had the record 60 home runs for a catcher, to go with 125 RBIs and 110 runs scored. He led the American League in home runs and RBIs. But you look at Aaron Judge in 152 games, had 179 hits, 53 home runs, to go with 114 RBIs, 137 runs scored with a .331 batting average. Now, 60 home runs is so impressive, but Aaron Judge hit 7 less and had a batting average astronomically higher than Cal Raleigh's. And then Judge also led the American League in batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, walks, and runs scored. So it's going to be interesting where the voters go with this. Are they going to go more for the history, or are they going to go really just across the board with the numbers? Because if you look at it as a whole, just a .331 batting average is insane nowadays, to go with everything else that he led the American League in hitting wise. So I think the award should go to Aaron Judge. We will see what happens. Again, the voters, that's why they're voters and I'm not. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, who you think should win and who is going to win tonight. And what I said at the beginning, still, there's a lot of free agency rumors, trade rumors, and one of the free agency rumors that I sing a little bit more, and I've already talked about this, so I'm not going to go in too much detail, but I want to touch on it a little bit more, and that was the possibility of Dylan Cease coming in. How real is that? Jeff Passan wrote an article of every single team who they should sign in free agency, and Dylan Cease was his guy for us. And again, I've already been seeing a lot of rumors and comments, and we talked about the MLB exec saying the Orioles are going to be one of the most aggressive teams in free agency, and Cease could be one of those guys as well. I mean, we'll see, because you're going to have to sign him to a massive deal, and you're also going to have to give up a compensatory draft pick as well, which isn't a big deal. Cease was one of the guys offered a qualifying offer. He is most likely going to decline that to make him a free agent. That's why you have to wait until that November 18th deadline period. But Cease is going to be looking for a contract around $180 to $200 million, around the 7-year range. So I know that's not insane now that you have an actual owner that said he is going to spend money and there's no spending cap. Mike Elias now in there, and the president of baseball operations, as they're still looking for a general manager. Is that going to give him more authority to actually spend money this season? The Orioles are not known for spending big money on free agents recently, especially under Mike Elias. Now, I know this is new ownership, and I know the old ownership was very tight with the wallet, so we'll see what this year has in store. But one of the very, 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 very few free agents, and not re-signing players, I'm talking about true free agents the Orioles have signed to a multi-year deal. Is the only one I can really think of right now is last year with Tyler O'Neill, 3 years, $50 million. So, and I'm talking multi-year deals, not just a one-year deal. And it's just hard for me to believe that the Orioles would go ahead and part with 180 to $200 million on Dylan Cease. Now, I would love for it to happen, even though he had a bit of a down year last year. I still think he's one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. It'd be nice to have him there. I mean, I don't know who would not want Dylan Cease on their team. It's just, I know new ownership said that they're not going to have a cap on spending this year, this offseason, but you got to be realistic. If you know, there might be, they're just not telling us, they're telling the fans what they want to hear. How much more are they going to spend if they're going to shell out that much money for Dylan Cease? So they could go that route, and only time will tell. I would love to have Dylan Cease there. I just don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to go cheaper route because they need to add more than just one arm to that rotation. Now, Dylan Cease will solve a lot of problems, but I do think they need a couple of arms in there, especially with a few departures and a few injuries. So one of those guys that I really think could help out, that I think the O's definitely should be looking into when it comes to free agency, starting pitcher that I would love to bring on if they do decide that Dylan Cease is either too pricey or they just decide to pass on him because somebody is going to be able to offer him more money. That's Ranger Suarez. I think Ranger Suarez would be a fantastic fit in Baltimore. And if you look at, you know, a Cease or a Valdez, he's actually going to be worth a little less to be able to bring him in. And I think that is beneficial to Baltimore, especially if they need to add a couple of guys. So why not? He's 30 years old. You can get him in a range of about 4 to 6 years, averaging him around $25 million a year. So you still be spending a lot. I'm not going out and saying, oh, it's $20 million guy. No, you're still going to spend a lot, but it would be cheaper than going out there and signing a Dylan Cease. He spent last year with Philly, went 12-8 with a 3.20 ERA. And he did have an injury to start the year, and it was a back injury that has lingered him quite a bit, or been lingering around quite a bit. But I don't see that as an issue right now coming in. There's no reports of that back injury being anything serious, and he looks good to go right now. And he is going to cost a bit, but I think it would be worth having Suarez there, especially if you can bring him in a little cheaper than a guy like a Dylan Cease and still go out there and get another arm. And I know that if they're able to get Dylan Cease at the number that they want, go ahead and sign him. But if you're able to get Ranger Suarez maybe just a little bit cheaper and you're able to add a few more arms, another starting arm and someone else in the back end of that bullpen, I think that's a great route to go to. I've loved Suarez since he's been in the league, and I think he'd be a great fit in Baltimore. And Philadelphia to Baltimore, that's not that far of a travel, so I don't think he'd mind too much signing in Maryland. So that's something else to keep an eye on. I've seen a few of those reports going around as well. Way more reports about Dylan Cease and the Orioles being interested in him than Ranger Suarez, but Suarez is also a guy to keep an eye on as well. And one guy that is also starting to pop up just a tad bit, and not just on Orioles pages, this is across the board, and I totally understand why. That's Joe Ryan over in Minnesota. And he would be a trade candidate as he still has 2 years of team control left to go. He is still in that arbitration cycle, but he's only 29 years old. He went 13-10 last year with a 3.42 ERA with 194 strikeouts. He has a career ERA of 3.89, so he's a pretty consistent player. But again, he's got that team control for 2 years, so that's very beneficial to the team who was able to trade for him. But the O's are not the only team going after him. Other teams are too. It makes a lot of sense because he's a really good pitcher. He's super cheap, and he has a couple years left before they have to give him a bigger deal. So with all of that being said, the Orioles, they have the farm system to go ahead and get a guy like him, and they might have to give up just a bit more than others if they really want to get on top of this situation and are able to bring Ryan in. It's going to be interesting to see because the Twins did sell off some pieces last year because the season didn't go the way they thought it was going to go. And if the Twins don't trade for or trade him away now, he might be a guy they trade away more of the halfway point of next season, depending if the season isn't going the way that they thought it was going to go either. So this is more Elias's MO, trading for guys instead of signing them to these big free agency deals. So when I saw this floating around, it made more sense to me, and it is definitely something that I could see Mike Elias doing for the Orioles, acquiring a really good pitcher and Joe Ryan and bringing him in and, you know, being another guy that could dominate in that starting rotation there with a Trevor Rogers. So I wouldn't mind having another righty arm in there, especially for this cheap, and a guy that has, again, more team control for a team that right now, I was looking at it this morning, a team that has full of guys that are going to be coming up for contract renewals and bigger deals in the next 2 to 3 years. So he would just kind of be add on to the pile of guys that are still in that arbitration, and you don't have to worry about the contracts just yet. Now, I'm not saying bring him in and just put him in the bag. I wouldn't have to worry about him right now, but you can bring him in and you still have time to figure out what you want to do with him long term. And even if you do give up pieces for him, younger pieces, younger farm arms, or younger farm bats, you still have a couple of years, like I just said, to decide if you want to sign him to a long-term deal or if you want to trade him as well before his time is up, maybe after a year. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments, guys. I truly do appreciate you watching this latest video here on the channel. It really does mean a lot. Please let me know again what you thought about all the topics that I went over. You agree, disagree, let me know. And let me know if there's any other players out there. I know you guys have been letting me know certain players that you think we should trade for or that we should focus more on in free agency. And yeah, I'm reading all these comments, and I'm planning on having a video. Usually, I'm going to say probably my Monday video will just kind of be going over comments from the week and just interacting with you guys a little more. So again, thank you so much for all the love and support this channel has gotten so far and that it continues to get. It really does mean a lot. Hit that like button, subscribe, get daily notifications. This is Orioles Today. I am Sean Ferguson, and let's go O's.